Jiggy cat on a damn killer spree. This is Nagato, and you can't mimic my energy. 100 rounds drawn and be hanging like a centipede.
Yo, what's up everyone, it's me Nagato's Revenge and welcome back to my channel. Just want to say thank you all for everybody who has been supporting my new PlayStation 4 WebKit exploit series. Thank you for that. But for today, it's Happy Monday and we're going to go ahead and get straight into today's guide, and I'm going to be teaching you guys on how to install / run classic PlayStation 2 games on 6.72 firmware, and this will be episode 3 for today's series. With that being all out the way, I do like to state some major disclaimers, prerequisites, and just some tips to tricks before we actually get into the process. If you know me, that's what I usually like to do on my channel, but nonetheless, we're going to start with today's first disclaimer. And I just want to say, note for this guide, not all PlayStation 2 games will work, unfortunately, due to the current internal emulator for fake packaged PS2 titles. And what I mean by that is whatever PS2 emulators that were embedded in official PS2 games that were originally in the PSN stores, such as like Jak and Daxter 2, Grand Theft Auto, such and so forth, like that's what we basically using like as the basis to rebuild our fake packaged PS2 games, which we are injecting like custom ISOs, or basically ISOs that are not supposed to be in the fake package or basically in the original package itself, i.e. thus the name fake package files. But that's what I want to go ahead and cover over today. There will be a PlayStation 2 compatibility list from the PS2 Dev Wiki, which you can see which titles are compatible. So for example, you may have a game that you want to test and it may run with major graphical issues and stuff like that, and you want to go ahead and refer to the actual development wiki list before testing out a game, so you won't run and waste any time in terms of trying to install PS2 games. And you want to make sure before installing them which ones work and which ones don't. And once I probably edit out this video, I will have the actual dev wiki showcase on the screen, probably as a picture or like a slight video, so you can kind of understand what I mean from that. But I will go more into detail that in via for the PC. With that major disclaimer getting out the way as well, we're going to be covering over all the prerequisites you need for today via for the PlayStation 4. As always, any of my supplemental readings, links, and anything I'll use in today's video will be always in the link in the description down below and in the pinned comment. But first things first, you need a modded PlayStation 4 that's on firmware 6.72 firmware or lower. I'm already assuming for today's guide as well that you're already on 6.72 firmware or lower for this, and I'm already assuming that you understand the basis on how to set up our Azurus DNS and all of that fun stuff. So if you're not up to date, you can go ahead and check my official PlayStation 4 hacking playlist, and that will be in the link in the description down below, as well as in a pinned comment and the card. As well, for this process, you need a PC. You also need the PlayStation 2 fake package conversion tool.exe. This will allow us to take our or basically whatever ISO for our game, convert it to a fake package file so we can run it on our PS4. You need, of course, our Azurus DNS setup to run Mira. Basically, this will allow us to run unsigned code and install debug package files. You also need any compatible PlayStation 2 game in a .iso format. I can't stress that enough. Make sure it's compatible. If you're testing a game that's not on the dev wiki list, that's totally up to you. Maybe it will work, maybe it doesn't, but if it's not on the list, you're just kind of taking that risk just to see if the game will run generally. But that's just out the way. Of course, I already spoke about the PlayStation 2 dev wiki emulation compatibility list, which will be referenced today. You also need a USB stick, either formatted to FAT32 or exFAT. I recommend to have at least a USB that's on exFAT, since certain PS4 games are 4 gigabytes larger in size. But if a game is under 4 gigabytes, then you could just go with FAT32. But just be on the safe side, we're going to be using exFAT for today, and I recommend at least having a USB that's 32 gigabytes or more, since if you're trying to do multiple games at once, it's better to just have a USB or external HDD that has more space. Some other prerequisites, which is of course optional for today, you can use either PlayStation 2 CoverArt, and I'm going to show you guys on how to actually get CoverArt embedded into your package file. So once you see on the PlayStation 4 side of things, and I'll probably have a picture up right now, you can see how you can have your PS2 CoverArt so that you can make your game look more official, and you can give it like a custom background if you want to. I'll also be providing a repository that has a .zip that has over 1,000 CoverArt photos for the PlayStation 2, and it will basically only have US based titles. So if you're trying to do a game that's from like either the PAL region, aka Europe, or the Japanese region, you can use Google, and I'll show kind of like my tips and tricks on how to get your cover art if you're trying to use from different games. As well, we need to know our PlayStation 2 serial number or content ID, and from that way we're going to be using a website called PlayStation Database, which will provide all of that information. I already did the research on that, and it will basically be useful for today's guide. Last but not least, you'll need Photoshop or Paint to resize your PlayStation 2 cover art for the PS4, and it has to be by 512 by 512 dimensions, and this is the correct size for any cover art images, or basically the icons PNG for the PS4. With that being all out the way, I do apologize if my intro is a little bit longer, but with that being out of the way, we're going to go ahead and toggle over to the PC as well as the PlayStation 4 to get this started. Alrighty guys, assuming that you did follow all the prerequisites and everything that I stated in the intro, we're ready to go and get started on the PC side of things first. And we're going to be covering a lot of websites today, which I will have all in the link in the description down below, as well as in a pinned comment. So first things first, you can see here on my desktop, I have the game I'm going to be testing for today, which I already checked via in the PlayStation 2 Dev Wiki, which will be Yakuza. And I'm already know that it's important to as well, I should note this, that you know your video games region. So I already know that my game is Yakuza, and this is the US region of my said title. As well, via right here, I have basically a folder called Sony PlayStation 2, and this is what I was talking about earlier about how to get your cover art. I will have a link in the description down below on where to basically find either the cover art, and you can just type in your game's name. So let's say, I don't know, you were trying to do Call of Duty World of Warfronts. This is the US version of the game. You can just find your box art in here. This is just all the USA version covered via a box art. If you're trying to do the PAL region of Japanese, you can use Google, but at least if you're trying to do US games, this can be kind of a archive and repository that the end user, aka you guys, could use. But right now, here's the actual tool itself, which is PlayStation 2 Fake Package version 0.5, and this is the tool that will allow us to basically take our ISO file and make it into a PKG so we can install it onto our PlayStation 4. But with that getting all out the way, just for the general synopsis of these files on the desktop, I'm going to actually showcase some other stuff as well. Let's say if you guys don't want to download the full .zip of the actual thing onto your desktop, I will also provide my official Google Drive, where you can just, I will provide the link to this, and you can just look in here and you can just scroll for whatever game you want, which is from A through Z. It's already labeled. So let's say if you're trying to do, I don't know, Dat Hack Recode Volume 1, you can just go ahead, download the cover art you want to your PC, and then you'd be good to go. So I'll also have the repository from here. Just to reinstate as well, this is where I got the official tool from, so it's coming from PSX Place. If you want to read more about the actual tool and just to change logs and stuff like that, and want to notice some bugs and stuff, you can as well. I'm using version 0.5 as I'm recording this, and this is as of August 24th. So if you're watching this video and there's version 6.5 or whatever, go ahead and download the latest version. But you can see here, you can download the latest version just by going to Mediafire. I will also just provide the actual link in the link in the description down below for my Google Drive, which has this hosted as well, and you can just download it by clicking that button. Some other thing as well, this is just what I was saying, this is just the Google Drive link, so either you could download it from the official Mediafire or from my Google Drive. I will have both links. As well, here is another thing which we're needing to be taking place of today. This is the PlayStation X data center, and this has basically all of the PlayStation 2 titles, or at least a good chunk of them, labeled through A through Z, and it will basically have the content ID, which is very important today since we need to use this to make our PKG file. So let's, for example, each link I have above, this is for the US version, which is NTSU. Via right here, this is the PAL region. So if your game is a European version of the game, which is SLES, you can use the content ID here, or if you're using a Japanese PlayStation 2 game, it will be NTSJ. So as of right now, let's say you are having, for example, I'll use mine. So I already know that my Yakuza version that we're going to be converting today is a US version of the game. All you got to do is in the link in the description down below, go ahead and choose a website that corresponds to your region. So if you're in the US, go ahead and use the NTSCU. You can hit Control F on your PC, type in whatever game you want. So right now, I'm just finding Yakuza, and voila, this is my content ID here. If you were doing Kingdom Hearts, for example, just type in Kingdom Hearts, SLUS, get the content ID from here. So that's how simple it is. Same thing if you were doing a Japanese version. You know, if I wanted to find the Kingdom Hearts version for Japan, right now it will be SLPM if I had the ultimate hits. If I had the regular version, it will be this content ID, such and so forth. But since I am doing Yakuza, what I'm going to do is go to Yakuza, just scroll down the list. I'm knowing I'm having the first version right here. What I'm going to do is open up a new tab in a TXT, or you can just have the window open, doesn't matter. And I'm just going to leave this right here, since this is going to be pretty important for us right now. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead, once you download PS2 fake package file.zip, something with like runwar or 7-zip, just go ahead and extract the files to your desktop, which I'm going to be doing here. Right now, it's just extracting all of its contents it needs. So voila, this is what PS2-FPKG looks like. All we got to do now is go ahead and you can read the changelogs txt here. So as in version 5, you can now add OPL virtual memory cards. And you know, you could also add a key map layout for Vita remote player support. So if you're trying to play games on the Vita, you could actually remap the controls, which is pretty cool. But this is how the actual file looks like. So what I'm going to do actually is take all the contents here and put it to the root of the original folder, so it's reading from run directory. I'm not too sure because I know sometimes this tool has bugs, so this is what I usually do. And I'm going to just delete the folder which it originally came out from. So if you just open the folder now, it will have PS2-FPKG version 0.5 and have everything here. Now that we've done that, we got our content ID, we extracted out our files. Let's go ahead and go into, I believe, stuff, go into PNG, and this is where you want to place your customized PNG. If you don't, these are the basic PKGs that will basically pop up on your PS2 file. If you want to just leave that, then it's fine. But let's say if you want your custom cover art, which I'm going to showcase now, I'm going to show you on how to do this. So if we just hit right click over properties and scroll down to properties, you can see here that the photo, if I go into details, is 512 by 512, which I told you guys in the intro. That's on basically the way of how to do for cover art. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead in the Sony PlayStation 2 database folder I have, and this was provided by RetroArch. I just re-uploaded it and downloaded it, so shout out to them. I'm going to go and find the Yakuza PNG. And you're going to notice that most of these PNGs won't be in 512 by 512 since they are the official scans. So you can see here, this is the game I want for my cover art. If I scroll down to, well, not try to create a shortcut, but let me scroll down to properties. We can see here that the file is 512 by 720. Either you can use Photoshop or Paint to do this. Right now, I'm going to showcase on how to do this with Paint, since it's just the easier way. So what I'm going to do now is just go here, copy by hitting Ctrl+C, putting this onto my desktop, and I'm going to be opening up Paint on my PC. So right now in your search bar, everyone should have Paint if you're using Windows 10. You can use any folder resizer you want to, or file resizer. But what I'm going to do now is just go ahead, drag this to here, and you can see here that the dimensions at the bottom, it says 512 to 720 or 720. We want to change that. So right now, all you got to do is go to resize, go into pixels, where it says maintain aspect ratio, turn that off, and you can just do 512, hit OK. And now the picture was saved by 512 by 512. So all you want to do is go file, save as PNG file, and then you want to label this as icon0.png, and then voila. Just to reiterate this really quickly, if you have something like Photoshop, which I have on my PC, I'll just kind of showcase on how to do this really fast. Or I could just even go in here, open with, go into Photoshop, and then showcase on how to do the same thing. Really doesn't matter. So you can see here, I got Photoshop open right now. If I go into new, where it says width, just type in 512 by 512. And all you would have to do in this case is just drag the photo onto here, and then you can just stretch it out by holding like shift on your keyboard, and then voila, hit hit enter just to save it as that. Go to file, save as. Then you can just label it as icon0.png. I already have mine since we did it on Paint. Just hit yes, okay, and now the file is done. So regardless if you do it with Paint, since that's like the free method, if people don't have Photoshop, you can do it either or. So I showed you both methods. But if we go highlight over our folder, go into properties, go into details, you can see here that it's 512 by 512. Either you could keep the original one in here. So what I like to do is just rename this to icon 1. But if you want to put your custom game, you can do icon 0 png. If you want to make a custom pick one png, same premise. This is just the background. Once you launch into the game, it will be 920 by 1080, so you could just relabel the sizes, just like how we did it in Photoshop or with, or just get a background that says 920 by 1080. But since I like it as the PlayStation 2 title, then it's just fine. So what I'm going to do as of right now is go into PS2-FPKG.exe, and then from here, this is how it should look. Right now, what you want to do is go ahead in your txt file where it says your actual content ID, go ahead and paste that into here. And right now, just take out the dash of your set game and add the last digit. So just how I did here. So you can see here it says SLUS 213480 or 48. This is for Yakuza. Then for the PS2 title ID, you can just label it as whatever game it is, which is Yakuza. Then you want to go ahead and find where your disk is located. So you can do disk 1. I'm gonna know that my disk is via right here for the ISO. So voila, right now. Jack 2 emulator, you can choose whatever emulator you want. Depending, your game may basically reference on wherever you want to go in term, or basically whatever emulator you choose, you may have different performances, but usually I just stick with the Jack version 2 one, and then basically that is good. Then right now you want to go ahead and find your icon. So in this case, I'm going to go to PS2 fake package version 0.5, go into stuff, PNG, find my icon 0 PNG, boom, that's the one I'm choosing. Background, I'm choosing the one that is just the one that was basic in there, and then that's fully done. Then there are some other cool things you can do via right here. If you want to import a PS2 memory card, you could just select there. If you want to add custom Lua text and configurations from the PS3 and stuff like that, you also can. If you want to also change the key map layout to set game, if you want to play on your PlayStation Vita, and basically have the key map layouts different. So if you want L2, R2 on either the touchpad or backpad, you can, and all of that fun stuff. But I'm not really going to cover that too much. I may do a more in-depth tutorial to this, but I'm just going to show you the basics on how to get your game rolling. But once you get your game set up, you got your icon, you got your title ID, all you can do is create your fake package file. I'm going to drop it into my desktop, and then it's just saying the info of the game. Just going to hit OK. And then right now what I'm going to do is showcase that the game is creating the image. Depending on how large the file is, it may take a little while, but yeah. But once you know that's done, here what I was trying to say for the actual PlayStation 2 title itself. Here is the development wiki, and this is what I recommend anybody doing before actually rebuilding your package file. I should have probably stated this earlier, but as I'm recording this, it just dawned on me I forgot that one thing. But right now you can see here Yakuza is the game I was doing. So you can see here how I was saying Yakuza is playable. So the US region, or excuse me, the PAL region or the European version works fine, and US. So yeah, let's say if you were trying to play, I don't know, from the list, Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monster Coliseum, you can see here both the European version and US version has some trouble booting on 6.72. But this is a good way / method to know which games work and which games doesn't work. So I know, for example, Kingdom Hearts works just fine, or it may have some like little minor graphical issues, but for the most part it's playable. But yeah, this is the list I will have in the link in the description down below, which will provide a resource for you guys to basically just look at to see which games work and doesn't work for this process. But right now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and look at the actual ISO rebuilding via from here. It may take a little while once again, but once it's fully done, I'll go to back on my PC, or we can actually transfer to the PlayStation 4, get hen enabled, or Mira I should say, and then we're going to go back once it's fully done. So I'll meet you guys back on to the PS4. Alrighty, so as of right now guys, we're back onto the PlayStation 4. What we need to do is go ahead and enable hen for our PlayStation 4 via without asterisk DNS. So what I'm going to do now is go into user guide / helpful info, user guide again. I'm already assuming that you have out asterisk DNS either cached or basically already enabled. If not, you can look at episode 1 on how to fully jailbreak your PlayStation 4, which will be in the link in the description down below. But what we need to do is go into PS4 6.72, go into Mira. Hopefully the payload will launch without any trouble and without kernel panicking. Sometimes it may take, multiple tries, or you may get this error. So just waiting for my console to do its thing. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. So just waiting. So yeah, here it goes. What should happen, you may have a little notification on the left side of the screen just saying that the jailbreak went successful, and that's what should happen. So it should say like waiting clients, and then it should shout out some payloads talking about elfs and elf sizes. Once you get that, go ahead and back out from here, and now what we're going to do is go back onto the PlayStation, or excuse me, the PC, check if our ISO has been rebuilt as a fake package file, rebuild our USB and convert it to exFAT if we have to, or FAT32. So once we transfer it over, we'll be all ready to go on the PC, or excuse me, the PC and PS4 side of things. So I'll meet you back on the PC, guys. Alrighty, so as of right now, my PKG has successfully rebuilt onto my desktop. So you can see this is the PKG file here. What we can do just to generalize the size of the PKG, you can see here that it's actually compressed since we used the compression mode, and it's 3.30 gigabytes. You can see here from the official ISO, it was about 4.08 gigabytes. So roughly you could tell if your PKG has rebuilt successfully, if it's generally almost the same size. So it may, if it's like a gigabyte down, you probably use compression. If not, it probably be almost the exact same size, like 4.8 gigabytes. If I didn't use compression, probably the PKG would be 4.08 gigabytes. Nonetheless, we got that done. So what we're going to do is just shut down the PS2 fake package file. We could go ahead and take our package file here and plug in our USB of choice. So right now I'm going to plug in a USB, and see here, this is the USB that I will be using for today's video. Right now, what you want to do, once you plug your USB in, you want to go ahead and back up any important data, since we're going to verify that our thing is on exFAT. If your USB is on exFAT like mine is right now, you can just drag and drop the PKG onto the root of your USB. But let's say, for example, your thing is on either NTFS or FAT32. I still recommend going on to exFAT, since PS4 games can be over 4 gigabytes in size, and I just recommend using exFAT on PlayStation 4, since it's preferably the way I usually do it. But right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and format my hard drive. So I'm already assuming either you backed up your data or you don't care what data is on this USB. All you got to do is right click over your USB drive, go into format, go where it says exFAT. So if you think it was on NTFS, please make sure that it's on exFAT. Allocation unit size, just do default allocation. Volume label, you can label it as anything. I just keep mine to PS3 trophy, but yours could be anything different. Where it says format options, make sure where it says quick format, toggle this on, go and hit start. It's just reiterating what I'm saying. Formatting will erase all data on this disk. To format this disk, just click OK, and to quit, just hit cancels. But since we want to reformat, let's hit OK. Then once it's done, you'll get format complete. Then what we're going to do is open up File Explorer again, go to our USB drive, and transfer over our file of choice. So here's Yakuza now transferring over. Depending on how big it is, your game, or if you're using like a USB 3.0, it shouldn't take too long. I'm just using some random USB 2.0 USB that I've been using for quite a long time, so it may take a little while for me. But once it's fully done, what we're going to do is go ahead and go back onto the PC or PS4, safely eject this, and then get our actual package file installed, and hopefully Yakuza will play just fine on our end. So I'll meet you guys back once this is fully done. Alrighty, so as of right now, we're back onto the PC once again. My game of choice, which is Yakuza, has successfully transferred over. What we're going to do before we even safely eject this out is just verify that your game, if we go into properties, is the exact file size that you transferred over from the PC, just so you know, to ensure basically that all of the content itself. So you can see here is 3.30 gigabytes, so it looks good to me. All we got to do now is just cancel out both of these, close down the USB drive itself, go into hidden icons. So right now I'm going to go into hidden icons and then remove the actual USB of choice, which I'm messing with today. And then we're going to plug in our USB to our PlayStation 4 to whatever slot, and then we're going to install the PKG file. So I'll meet you guys for that. Alrighty, so as of right now, we're back onto the PlayStation 4 itself. What we're going to do is go ahead, since we already enabled Mira, we're going to go and just install the package file. So right now, make sure, of course, your USB is plugged into the actual PS4 itself. And what we're going to do now is go ahead and go into settings, scroll all the way down to debug settings, since you already enabled Mira, go into game. You will get the CE error, that's totally normal. Now what we're going to do is go into package installer, go into here, and now we're installing the game itself. So depending on how many games you are doing, if you're doing multiple at once, it will take a while. If it's like a little small game under 1 gigabyte, or if you're using a USB 3.0 drive, it will go definitely faster. But what I'm going to do now is cut the video right here, come back when the Yakuza is fully done, and then we're going to launch the game itself, make sure it runs and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I'll meet you guys for that. Alrighty, so as of right now, guys, we're basically back onto the PlayStation 4. Yakuza has successfully installed, so let's go ahead and hit our home button, and voila, you can see this is Yakuza. It's now on my PlayStation 4. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and launch the PS4 itself, and I'm also going to turn on the audio in the background. So right now I'm playing the game in real time. As well, if you guys are more interested into like PlayStation 2 modding itself, I will actually have a card probably right now on the screen if you're more into PS2 modding. But right now I'm going to just launch Yakuza. And yeah, essentially this is how you can play PS2 classic games, provided that they are compatible or basically don't have run into any issues on your modded PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. Since me personally, I love classic PS2 games. PlayStation 2 or PS2, excuse me, is a console I grew up as a kid, and I played a lot of my favorite PS2 titles on my PlayStation 4. But yeah, you guys get the gist. You can see here I am able to start a new game. I am able to play. Just to showcase here, there are other PS2 games I've added way back on 5.05, and these are just some titles I've tested or which were compatible. And yeah, so you guys can play whatever PS2 titles you want on your modded PlayStation 4 now, and hopefully this guide helps you to utilize your PS4 in another way. And yeah, with that being said, my name is Nagato's Revenge. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys in episode 4. Peace. Hey everyone, it's me, Nagato's Revenge here. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. With that being out the way as well, I highly do recommend that y'all guys go ahead and follow my social media so you never miss any of the latest hacking guides and tutorials on my channel. By subscribing to me and hitting that notification button as well is another method on how you will know when I drop my latest content, whether it be for the Vita, PS4, PS3, and such and so forth. As well, if you want to be in the mix of things and you want to join my official community, you can join via the link right now showcased on the screen and join my Discord that way. And if you do want to support my channel in any shape or form, you could become a patron. I will have a card right now. But with all of that getting out the way, hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.